Before we learn how to maneuver on a mode board or plotting sheet, we need to know what we need to do to maneuver. Having set up the vector triangles like we did in both the two different methods, we now have a better image of what these ships are doing in relation to us and in reality. It doesn't change the fact that we're still going to collide with this one in, I think, 27 minutes. We're going to pass really close ahead of this one in like 50 minutes. And this one's going to pass cleanly astern of us in 36 minutes. We're going to need to maneuver for them. How we maneuver, though, is dictated by the rules of the road. We don't just get to turn whichever direction we wanted to. If we wanted to, we could hit a 180 and start going that way, but that would not be advised as per the rules. They require we take certain actions in certain situations. So let's analyze each of these in the context of the rules of the road. We'll start with contact A. It's headed this way. We're headed this way. We're pretty close to going on similar courses. We're on course 255. They're on course 235. So they're nearly parallel. They're pointing in a little bit towards us. And they're on speed 20 knots. We're on speed 15 knots. They're going faster than us, and that makes sense because you can see they're slowly, in terms of relative motion, they're getting closer to us over time. And they're going to eventually pass from our starboard quarter to our port quarter, and then at some point end up ahead of us, further ahead than we are. You can see like our beam is right around here, so they're going to pass our beam, and then they're going to be in front of us. So lots of times in the context of the rules, we visualize it a lot more cleanly than it happens in reality, but this is an overtaking situation. It's not one ship is directly behind another ship, and it's just coming right up and it's going to hit it if it doesn't move out of the way. But it is a ship from astern headed on a pretty similar course, one certainly more than 12 or 22.5 degrees abaft the beam. You can see like our beam is out here, so it's definitely pretty far abaft the beam, and therefore or 12.5. No, it's 22.5. I forget the specifics, but that's bad. I should remember that. Anyway, it would see our stern light at night, so it is overtaking us, and you can see it's right now set to overtake us on our port side. Now, realistically, it's got a CPA of 2.8 miles. So there isn't really risk of collision, and as a result, overtaking only exists in a situation where there is risk of collision. Risk of collision, though, is determined by your standards and by their standards. If they're not comfortable with a 2.8 nautical mile, then they hold there to be risk of collision, making it an overtaking situation, making them the giveaway vessel, making us the stand-on vessel, so they have to maneuver for us. That's if they consider this to be a problem, though 2.8 miles is far enough that most captains would not have a problem with that. So in all likelihood, we can keep going this way and they can keep going that way, and no one's really even going to get on bridge to bridge. They're just going to be fine with it. Let's go on to contact B. They're headed here on course 286. We are headed here on course 255. They're currently set to pass astern of us. However, they're only going to get to a maximum or a minimum of 0.9 miles. Their CPA is very close. This is definitely a dangerous situation. It is passing astern of us like so. However, let's think about what this could be. It could either be a crossing situation, kind of a fine crossing situation, or a overtaking situation. And because we're astern of them, it would really depend on whether or not we could see their stern light. It is 22.5. Okay. So whether or not we could see their stern light would depend on if we're more or less than 22.5 degrees abaft the beam. And this is the situation where you wouldn't necessarily want to just look at the radar or the MO board. You would look outside. You should be looking outside. Most of your attention should be spent at the window. Looking outside, seeing the ship. If it's nighttime, and you see only one white light, it's its stern light, you're overtaking. If it's daytime and you can clearly see the stern better than you can see its beams, probably overtaking. Alternatively, what you could do, if this is their heading, right here, if we know that they're going this way, then this is their beams kind of lined up with their EM vector. And you could tell, like, there's 20 degrees on its beam, passes there ahead of us, meaning we're more than 20. Our bearing right now is more than 20, substantially more than 22.5 degrees abaft of it. So that's really the most definitive way you could do it besides seeing their stern light. If you want to actually throw down the compass or the triangle or draw their beam here and we're clearly pretty far behind it, then we can hold this and say we're definitely in an overtaking situation with this contact. So this one's overtaking us. However, we're overtaking them because we're going to pass ahead of them because they're going to pass astern of us. So they're the giveaway vessel for us. We're the giveaway vessel for them. Obviously, now this is more complicated of the situation than just them overtaking us. So we're going to probably have to get on bridge to bridge and communicate with one or both of the ships to make it clear our intentions, because we're going to now need to maneuver for them more so than they need to maneuver for us, because they're far enough away that they're not actually overtaking us. They're not in a risk of collision. Now let's look at contact C, sorry. And this is probably the most clear-cut one. This is the one that, honestly, you're almost relieved when you get something like this because it makes the situation very obvious. We're going this way, they're going this way. Our true vectors are basically perpendicular to one another. We're almost coming in at a perfectly 90-degree angle. What that means is we're in a crossing situation without any ambiguity. We are definitely crossing them right now. And there's a 0 to 0 mile CPA. So we're not crossing ahead of them. They're not crossing ahead of us. We're hitting each other in a crossing situation. Now, if you remember the rules, the vessel which has the other to her starboard side is the giveaway vessel. We are headed this way. They're on our starboard bow. We have them on our starboard side. We're the giveaway vessel. Another way you could remember that is at night, if we were to look out at them, we would see their red port side light. If they were to look out at us, they would see our green starboard side light. Anytime you see a red side light, red, stop. That means you're the giveaway. Anytime you see a green side light, green means go, means you're the stand-on. So we, without any ambiguity, know that we are the giveaway vessel for them and the giveaway vessel for them. And we have to maneuver to avoid both. Because there's multiple contacts in this situation, you should realistically be getting on bridge to bridge and explaining your intentions to all of them. However, the action you need to take is kind of obvious. Because if you have a crossing situation and you're the giveaway vessel, you have to take their stern. You have to pass astern of them. You are not to pass ahead of them, meaning you have to pass astern of them. The only way we could reach their stern is if we were to come to starboard, like so. Coming to starboard for them and passing astern of them will also mean that we actually open up out of the way of this one too, because we're now going some way in this direction. And we're going to come pretty far away from contact B, and we're going to pass astern of contact C. It will actually open up for both. And lots of time, the way the rules are designed, it allows you to have the same solution for both. I mean, imagine a world where in an overtaking situation you had to come to port, but in a crossing situation you had to come to starboard. We're in both, so we wouldn't know what to do. I mean, the time to CPA for contact C is shorter than contact B, so this is our priority. So theoretically, we could come to starboard, avoid them, then come to port and avoid contact C. But that obviously that's stupid. So the way it's designed, the way the rules were designed is for an overtaking situation, you could come to either direction, but for a crossing situation, you have to turn to starboard to take their stern because you're the giveaway. Meaning, if we just come to starboard here, we solve both problems automatically. You have to remember though, if we're headed this way and contact A is headed that way, and we come to starboard like this, we are potentially getting into a situation with them. It's going to close their CPA in closer. So when you do a MOBORD problem like this, and you analyze what's going to happen to contact C if we change course, you need to do the same for all of them. If we want to come to course 320, how's that going to affect contact B? How's that going to affect contact A? In case our maneuver here actually causes a problem with contact A, because it could. I'm actually really happy that, I made up all of this information in my head and somehow it actually came out to be create a fairly interesting situation. So the next video, we're going to get into actually maneuvering 4 vessels.